Alright there guys, what's up? This is part 6 of the 2030 challenge where I've taken charge of Aston Villa, sat in the championship at the start of the 2030-2031 season. As you can see in the top right there, we are now in 2031 and it's FA Cup third round day and we have drawn a Premier League side, Newcastle United away from home. The Geordies went up last season as champions of the championship, pretty commandingly in the end with 91 points, although Palace pushed them fairly close. Of course, now that they're in the Premier League, they have a lot of quality in their squad yet again. Right, if you look at the values of the players that are there, you can see you've got Jan Jaros on 10.5 million, Paul Brady 7.5 mil. You've got some very valuable players there, so you can tell that they've got quite a lot more quality sort of than us, just because of the Premier League, sort of the wealth that you can get from being a Premier League club. We've got players of similar value, just not as many. You can see our most valuable player, Martinez Gonzalez, 11 million, and then it drops to 8 million, then to 765, and there's quite a few with the sort of 2.53 million mark. So not as much sort of quality in depth as Newcastle. That's going to make it fairly hard to progress today, because Newcastle, despite being newly promoted, are also doing fairly well. I believe they are 12th in the Premier League. Yes, they're 12th after 20 games. Pretty comfortably clear of sort of the bottom three at the moment. The other newly promoted clubs, Palace and Plymouth, are also clear of the drop, but not as comfortably really, just a point clear. Arsenal are down there in 19th. That is a surprise if ever I did see one. It would be amazing if Arsenal went down. They've sacked their manager, Paul Tisdale, I think he was, so I don't know, maybe that provides some explanation, because if you've got Paul Tisdale in charge of a Premier League team, you may argue he's a bit out of his depth. Nottingham Forest, I've just noticed a second. I believe they're managed by Zinedine Zidane in this save. Yes, they are. And clearly oozing quality with a continental rep. Very good players as well. They also have the bonus of not having Champions League football. I think that really helps when teams are challenging for top four. Yeah, simply because of the lack of fixture congestion. But focusing on ourselves for a minute, we are still leading the championship. But once again, the lead has been cut to just a single point. Swansea constantly on our tails, and we are slipping up a lot. We're not quite getting the results that we want, and Swansea are capitalising, and that is a worry. I'll show you the result. The result since we actually beat Swansea by 3 goals to 2. So the next game after that 3-2 victory against Swansea was a ball draw against Watford. Not much to report. We had the better of the chances, but again, we're just completely inept in taking them, unfortunately for us. We hosted Reading and we took them out pretty comfortably by 2 goals to 0. It was a pretty impressive victory after sort of the sterile performance against Watford, because Reading were sort of challenging for the playoffs, and I believe they still are. And we were comfortable throughout the game, so that just shows maybe the gulf in quality between a playoff side and us, which is encouraging in our pursuit of automatic promotion, and certainly the championship title, because I do want to win something, even if it's not the most prestigious trophy. We had a Midlands derby against Leicester next up, and we took the lead after 9 minutes through Dejan Antelek. However, Raphael and Cogwain on 19 minutes, just 10 minutes after we scored, not good concentration yet again, equalising for Leicester. But Ricky Baxter, just before half-time, added a goal to seal the win, and we didn't necessarily play well, but it was good for us to get the 3 points nonetheless. Newly relegated Peterborough were our next opponents, and we travelled to London Road in search of another 3 points, and we took them very comfortably indeed with a 4-1 win. Ricky Baxter with a brace, and Antelek and Martinez Gonzalez, the two midfield dynamos, getting the other 2 goals for us. Gavin Donaldson unfortunately pulled one back for Peterborough, but by then it was very much too little too late. Another defeat, this time against Leicester. They must have really wanted revenge against us, because they played very well, but we didn't create much, and it was just an off day for us in general. Not very happy with that performance, and we've not exactly carried the form into the next game either, as you can probably see. Anyway, Prince Essien, which is a brilliant name for a regen, scoring 2 goals for the Foxes on 16 and 38 minutes. I gave them a rollicking at half-time, and Dejan Antelek was, by the looks of things, the only one to really respond to that rollicking, as he hit one home 2 minutes after the restart. We then went to Carrow Road, and we were looking pretty good for a win for quite some time. Chris White, on 5 minutes, grabbing the goal for us. But a sending off for Radek Halub changed the dynamic of the game, much like the sending off of, Zlatar in the first live com changed the game for Villa. This time it was against us, obviously, and we held on until 89 minutes. But unfortunately, Andrija Novakovic scored with just a minute to spare to break our hearts and deny us 2 points. Swansea won their game that weekend, hence the lead has been cut to just a single point. However, we're taking our focus away from the league for today's livecom. We are at Newcastle in the FA Cup third round. So I'm just going to pick the team. Radek Halub is suspended because he got sent off, didn't he? Silly boy. Going to give Koronek another start. He's not match fit, but at the same time, we need him to build up his fitness quickly. Kareem Sadler will also get a start just for that reason. I'm going to bring Donachi on the bench because I don't really want to overdo this whole fitness thing. And John Marshall, ball-winning midfielder. Just trying to rotate as much as possible here. Yeah, that's the team. I'm pretty happy with that. Mark Heron in goal, our cup keeper, with Koch, Creamers, Marty and Koronek the back four. In midfield, Martinez, Gonzalez, Sadler and Marshall. Chris White on the left. Baxter and Slavkov, the two up front. Let's get into the game here. I'm just going to change to my slightly more defensive variant of the tactic. Bring Marshall in as an anchor man. I'm just sort of doing this because they are a Premier League quality team and we need to be wary of that. We need to make sure we're as defensively sound as possible. So we're the underdogs. I very much expect to be beaten here by a superior side, but we're going to see what we can do, and hopefully we can pull up a few trees in this competition. Chris White picking up a knock after 2 seconds. That's not exactly encouraging. We won't risk him. We'll bring Diego Donachi on. I'm seeing this as more of an opportunity to, a free sort of match for people to build up their match fitness, because I'm struggling to rotate the squad at the moment just because there have been a lot of players just returning from injury, and it's been difficult to sort that out because you don't really want to be playing players who haven't got much match fitness simply because they won't perform as well as you might expect. Slavkov here just over the bar. That was a good chance, and we've started fairly well, it would seem. It may not be the most exciting live com here. It may not be riddled with chances just because I have played on counter. But Scott's whipped one in and Jaros gets on the end of the cross. And it's 1-0 to the Geordies here. I'm not really sure whether it was against the run of play, to be honest, simply because there haven't really been so many chances. But if you manage to decipher what happened from that PowerPoint, you'll see that Newcastle grabbed the first goal of the game. And now, seemingly, Newcastle have another highlight. That is the weirdest name ever. I don't know if you saw that. It ended with a Q. And I'm not going to humiliate myself by trying to pronounce that name. Sadler just launches one up now to Slavkov. Let's see what he can do with it here. It's a good reflex save from McInally to give us a corner here. Martinez Gonzalez whips it in, and it's well dealt with by the Newcastle defence. Koronek spraying it out to Martinez Gonzalez, and Scott with a clean tackle dispossesses the Argentinian. And we've got another chance. We've more than held our own in this game. We're not disgracing ourselves here as Baxter has a go, and that was so close to being an own goal. We're doing pretty well. It's sort of going to be a very good gauge as to how likely we are to do well in the Premier League next season if we do get promoted, not wanting to tempt fate. And I think so far it's been pretty pleasing. We've been unlucky so far. I'm going to switch the mentality to standard, maybe ramp up the attacking pressure just a little bit to see if we can't actually establish a foothold in the game itself. Maybe we've just been inviting too much pressure on here. Creamers now to Donachi, to Koch, Martinez Gonzalez, Baxter, Slavkov, go on, McInally. Again, here's a good goalkeeper, it would seem. That's a very poor back pass to the goalkeeper. And we have a corner here, whip it in. Martinez, Gonzalez, Sadler, Donachi. Oh, it's a shame. We're creating chances. We're not taking them. And you'll get punished for that in the Premier League as Korinek picks up a knock. Let's hope he doesn't get an injury, because we really don't have enough right backs. And Slavkov has had a shocker, so Than Luan, who I think that's his name, is going to come on. And we may as well go to control now. Actually, fuck that. Let's go with our normal strategy. Let's risk it here for a biscuit. Yeah, I'm happy with those instructions. Let's go. Let's see what we can create in the last 20 minutes of the match. Scott now with the throw. Banks back to Scott. Creamers deals with it well. Come on, let's rally here. Let's push forward. They're not pushing forward as quickly as Gonzalez is running forward. Baxter. Who can he thread through? He's found Sadler. Hamichi wants. There he gets it. Cuts inside. Finds Marshall. Just playing it around them at the moment. Not much urgency, but we are on lower tempo. And that's a good save. Another chance wasted. We've had 4 clear-cut chances. Oh dear. We need a better striker. Unfortunately, Greg Nichols is injured at the moment. That's not ideal. I'm sure he would have buried at least one of these chances that we've had in this game. Oh my god, it's gone in! Yes! And it's offside! I shouldn't have celebrated. I was just so desperate for a goal, I didn't bother to look at the linesman. Oh, I've made a fool of myself there. I don't know how we haven't won this game. I honestly don't. We've bossed it. And just from one laggy highlight, we've crashed out of the FA Cup. But it's encouraging signs that, I mean, this is very much a mid-table quality Prem side, if the table is to be believed. And we've performed fairly well. There's no reason why we can't finish in a similar position next season in the Premier League. We have, however, crashed out of the FA Cup. And after such a good performance, our lack of potency in front of goal has really come back to bite us here. I'm distraught. But what can you do? That's it for this episode, guys. The next live com will probably be in the league, and I reckon it will be the Wolves game, which is coming up very soon. So I'll see you guys later. Take care. I'm out.